you think of the Alien franchise, one image immediately comes to mind: a poor, unsuspecting host writhing in agony as something bursts from their chest. The Chestburster is one of the most iconic monsters in sci-fi horror, a grotesque symbol of body invasion and primal terror. But with Alien Earth, we've been introduced to something new, something eerily familiar, yet disturbingly different: the Baby Xenomorph. At first glance, both creatures share the same DNA. Small, pale, worm-like forms, vulnerable yet terrifying, the infant stage of the galaxy's deadliest predator. But the way they come into the world, the birth process itself, is shockingly different. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. So today we're breaking it down. Baby Xenomorph versus Chestburster. We'll dive into their origins, their similarities, their differences, and what these changes mean for the evolution of the Alien franchise. The classic Chestburster. A quick refresher. Before we can compare, let's rewind to where it all started. The Chestburster made its horrifying debut in Ridley Scott's Alien back in 1979. Born from the perfect setup of a mysterious egg, a facehugger, and an unlucky human host, this stage of the xenomorph life cycle is the third in the chain: egg, facehugger, Chestburster, adult xenomorph. Now, the facehugger doesn't exactly deposit a baby into its victim. What it actually does is inject a mutagenic compound called Plagiarinus prepotens, which rewrites the host's own cells, essentially forcing their body to build the embryo from within. This ensures that the developing alien borrows traits from the host, a process known as the DNA reflex. The result? A unique hybrid every time. A Chestburster from a human looks one way. From a dog, it moves on all fours. From a predator, you get the terrifying predalien. But no matter the host, the end result of the Chestburster stage is always violent, sudden, and unforgettable. The embryo gestates for hours, sometimes days, while the host experiences a mix of symptoms: nausea, exhaustion, chest tightness, even moments of feeling unnaturally strong or energized. Then, when the moment arrives, the embryo softens the bones and tissue of the rib cage and bursts out in a bloody explosion. This event is almost always fatal to the host, and that violence is part of why the Chestburster is burned into our pop culture memory. Enter the Baby Xenomorph in Alien Earth, where fans were introduced to a new twist on this nightmarish life cycle. At first glance, you might think it's just another name for the Chestburster. After all, both are small, serpent-like, pale creatures that represent the infant stage of the alien. But the way the Baby Xenomorph is born in Alien Earth sets it apart. Instead of the quick, shocking eruption of a Chestburster, the Baby Xenomorph's birth is slower, more parasitic, and more grotesque. Rather than exploding out of the chest cavity, the host's body sometimes appears to melt, twist, or break down as the baby emerges. It's a drawn-out, mutation-style transformation that feels closer to creeping body horror than sudden shock horror. This change makes the Baby Xenomorph's arrival almost more disturbing. The host isn't granted the mercy of a quick death. Instead, we watch as their body becomes a cocoon of suffering, reshaping itself until the infant alien crawls free. Similarities. Two versions of the same nightmare. Despite these different birth styles, both the Chestburster and the Baby Xenomorph share a lot in common. Stage of life, both represent the larval infant stage of the Xenomorph XX12. They're fragile compared to the adult, but essential for survival. Appearance. Small, pale, worm-like bodies with long tails and needle-like teeth. Instincts. Immediately after birth, both are weak but highly defensive. Their acid blood protects them, and their first instinct is always to flee and hide. Growth. Both creatures grow at an accelerated pace, reaching full adult size within hours or days. DNA reflex. Both inherit traits from their host, which explains the variety of alien forms we've seen across the franchise. So, in many ways, the Baby Xenomorph of Alien Earth is simply a reimagined Chestburster. But where things get fascinating is in the differences. Differences. Chestburster versus Baby Xenomorph. Chestburster, explosive, violent, kills the host almost instantly. It's a shocking event designed to horrify both characters and audience alike. Baby Xenomorph, slower, parasitic, sometimes even grotesquely mutating the host body as it emerges. This feels like extended suffering rather than sudden death. Chestburster represents shock horror. The audience never forgets the suddenness of Kane's death aboard the Nostromo. Baby Xenomorph leans into creeping dread, grotesque mutation, and modern body horror vibes. It's less about one sudden scare and more about an extended feeling of disgust and terror. Chestburster completely consumes the host's life force during gestation. Death is inevitable. Baby Xenomorph sometimes appears to warp or transform the host body in strange ways before fully emerging, suggesting a slightly different parasitic relationship. Chestburster, a metaphor for violent violation and loss of bodily autonomy, something invasive that kills you quickly. Baby Xenomorph feels more like a metaphor for disease, mutation, or corruption, a slower takeover that forces you to watch yourself become something else. Why the change matters. The introduction of the Baby Xenomorph in Alien Earth isn't just a random twist. It represents an evolution in the storytelling of the Alien franchise. Back in 1979, the Chestburster was shocking because no one had seen anything like it before. But modern audiences have. That image has been parodied, referenced, and memed endlessly. For Alien Earth to keep the fear alive, it had to find a new angle. By slowing the process down, by making it grotesque and parasitic, Alien Earth gives us a fresh way to be horrified. It leans into the kind of horror we see in modern shows and films while still staying true to the alien life cycle. And narratively, it opens up possibilities. If the xenomorph can adapt its birthing process depending on the host or environment, it makes the species even scarier. It's not just a creature of habit. It's an evolving nightmare that can tailor itself for maximum survival. Fan theories. Baby Xenomorph as an evolution? Fans have already started speculating. Could the Baby Xenomorph be an evolutionary branch of the classic Chestburster, designed to survive in Earth's unique ecosystem? Is it a result of human experimentation, maybe Weyland-Yutani tampering with the embryos to create a more controllable or resilient version? Or is this simply the natural result of different host DNA, meaning the Baby Xenomorph is just another variation like the Predalien? No matter the answer, the Baby Xenomorph expands the lore and proves that the alien life cycle still has secrets left to reveal. The horror question: which is scarier? Now comes the fun part. Which one is scarier? The Chestburster is fast, brutal, and unforgettable. It's one of cinema's greatest horror moments, and nothing will ever top the sheer shock value of Kane's death aboard the Nostromo. But the Baby Xenomorph in Alien Earth taps into something different. The slow dread of corruption, the grotesque imagery of your body melting away into something alien. It's modernized horror for a modern audience. Both are terrifying, but in very different ways. Our nerdy thoughts. So when we compare the Baby Xenomorph of Alien Earth with the classic Chestburster of the Alien franchise, what do we find? They're two sides of the same nightmare. Both represent the larval stage of the perfect organism. Both are horrifying in their own right. But the way they enter our world, one through explosive shock, the other through parasitic mutation, reflects not only their biology, but the era of horror storytelling they belong to. The Chestburster shocked audiences in the late 1970s, setting a new standard for sci-fi horror. The Baby Xenomorph creeps us out today, evolving the franchise to keep the fear alive. And that's the genius of Alien. No matter the decade, no matter the medium, it always finds a way to make us squirm. So what do you think? Which birth do you find more terrifying? The explosive violence of the classic Chestburster, or the slow, parasitic nightmare of the Baby Xenomorph in Alien Earth?